In a deadly force encounter, your will to win is the most important asset you have. Today's video is brought to us by Firearms Legal Protection. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners with a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for self-defenders. They are offering a discount on their plan to Ask fans, so hit the link in the description for that. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson out of Las Vegas, Nevada. It is an officer-involved incident that we're gonna get on dash cam. There is a lot to talk about here, so let's see what happened. The audio here is very important, so let's listen in on what happens during this entire chase, and then we'll come back and learn some lessons.
Charlie 4 in pursuit of the suspect vehicle. It's going to be southbound Mojave. Shots fired, shots fired.
Copy, southbound Mojave from where? 751, I couldn't copy you.
Be advised, shots fired, shots fired.
What's the location?
Southbound Mojave passing Bonanza. Black, shots fired still.
Charlie 4, I copy. 751, you copy?
Give me the air unit. Shots fired, shots fired. Give me the air unit. Still southbound Mojave approaching Charleston.
Southbound Mojave approaching Charleston. Shots still being fired.
It's occupied 2 times. HMA. Driver's got a bald head, tattoos, black shirt. Passenger's got a white shirt. Going westbound Charleston from Mojave.
Copy.
6 away from monitoring. Still westbound Charleston approaching 28th. Six away confirming pursuit, and how many do you have with you? Got one more unit. I've been shot at.
Are you injured?
On DPAC with the air unit following the vehicle. We want to try to combine channels.
For Charlie 1, are you injured?
It's Charlie 4. I'm not injured.
Okay, copy.
6, I'm going to switch over to DTAC so we can... Watch out! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired again!
Copy. Where are you at, Charlie 4?
Going northbound eastern from Charleston. Hey, back up! He's shooting. Get down!
If you like learning from us at Active Self-Protection, you might think about following us on my other social media platforms as well. We share stuff from all kinds of sources on our Facebook page every day, and if you want to see some more behind the scenes, follow me on Instagram to get more there. In this particular incident, I want to talk about some very significant lessons, including staying cool and having the willingness to stay in the fight despite a lot of things in the way. Secondly, I want to talk about marksmanship fundamentals. And third, I want to talk about shooting through glass and what that does to your bullets. So there's plenty to think about here from a defensive driving perspective, and I think this officer is a pretty amazing driver, but I'm not a driving coach or anything like that, so I'll leave that to people who are really experienced in that endeavor. But notice that whether we have challenges with, his tactics or whatever, this officer has drive and determination, and he's going to stop the bad guy. You cannot teach that attitude. That attitude has to be in someone's soul, and he has that absolutely there in spades. So kudos to him for having an attitude that he is going to stop the threat. Now as it slows down and back to regular speed, and he's going to come in here and decide to take point, and at this point he decides to draw his gun. You can see it on camera there, and he decides that he is going to use his sidearm in this endeavor. Now, I don't often comment on police procedures, and if you go watch the explanation from Las Vegas Metro PD, link in the description, you'll see that they say that an officer is only allowed to shoot from a moving vehicle or shoot at a moving vehicle in the direst of circumstances when life is at risk and when they don't have another option to try to stop him. Not to disable the vehicle, but to stop the person. Is all that met here? Sure looks like it is to me, but I will leave that to the investigators to determine whether or not that was a good idea. But boy, is it rough. This is going to be a very difficult thing to do here, as he's going to try to aim a pistol with one hand, drive with the other at the beginning, and make an accurate shot. Now, when he puts the pistol in his non-dominant hand there, I am very glad that he reconsiders that, brings the gun back. You want to add even more stress, put it in your dumb hand, put it in your non-dominant hand. That's not going to go very well. So I'm glad he thought about that for a minute and went, nope, I'm going to have to end up going through the windshield rather than rather than going through this left-handed. In his case, that'd be the right hand for me. Now, think about the shooting problem that he has here as he starts to put one through the windshield. Let's think for a minute about what that does. First of all, his car's bumping, getting an accurate shot, putting it in the bad guy is going to be incredibly difficult. Secondly, you got to recognize when you put a bullet through a windshield, it is going to deflect. It's going to deflect towards the perpendicular, but very inconsistently. It's not going to do what you think it's going to do, and it's certainly going to go up. So you have to aim down, and the farther that person is from the front of the car, the farther down you have to aim. And like I say, actually figuring that out is very difficult. Usually with the first shot, you're just punching through the glass and then trying to shoot through that hole again so that you get some accurate shots. It also is going to bring glass back to you. If you've never shot out of a windshield, it's surprising how much glass blowback and what the pressure is going to do. So if you've never done that, don't do it. Next, what you're going to see here is obviously we have to work on our fundamentals. This officer puts his thumb over the back plate. I don't know if he got slide bite. He could easily have fouled his firearm here. And this does showcase an idea that says, listen, he's a warrior and I'm excited about his attitude, but this is going to hinder him. He's not going to get a good grip on the gun. He's not going to be able to control that gun well, and his shots are not going to go where they want as reliably as if he had a good thumbs forward two-handed grip. Notice he's also steering with his knees at this point, which, is pretty advanced stuff, I would say. But getting two hands on the gun means getting two correct hands on the gun when you're trying to shoot with this many problems ahead. And so, gosh, guys, you got to recognize you're going to fall to your lowest level of training on a bad day, not your highest level of training. And we're going to see that here some as he goes to go out the window there. Now he's kind of trying to drive forward, shoot off to the right, and he's putting a lot of rounds downrange. And he's going to use up the rest of the rounds in his magazine at this point. And I want you to pay attention to the backstop here. The backstop here is the elementary school where these guys ended up bailing out. Now, thankfully, it's the middle of the summer. There shouldn't be any kids there. But boy, as a firearms carrier, you're responsible for every round that leaves the muzzle of your firearm. And this is a lot of danger to go through, you guys. You better know that this is the only option you have if you're going to take it. Now, you notice here that he's out. The slide is back on his Glock 17. And I also want to think once again about training and about firearm safety. Now, again, his gun is locked back. We might say it's no big deal, but notice his finger is on the trigger so that when he does reload the gun, he could have a negligent discharge. You got to train yourself to unconscious competence with your firearm safety rules. Now, as we just go forward a couple frames, our bad guy who's been driving the whole time is running off, and he's going to run up the stairs, and our officer doesn't know he's out yet. He's driven that gun back out there and doesn't know that he is out of ammo. In a defensive encounter, you are going to shoot probably more than you think you will, and you may not know that you are out of ammo. And so, I know people are like, well, count your shots and whatever, but the reality is you're going to shoot an awful lot, and all of his shooting stopped the car, but did not necessarily stop the threat. Again, these guys are wanted for murder, so this is serious stuff, and you need to stop them. Now, this reload, guys, is bad. I mean, there's just no way to say that it's any good. The stress makes him put the magazine in backwards. I wonder why the heck he has a magazine on his right-hand side, as a right-handed shooter should be accessible by his left hand instead. Maybe some things that we can say about that gun that I would do differently. But bigger than that is, once again, a training issue. You need to know if that blaster goes empty that you can get a new magazine in it quickly. Not the 6 or so seconds that this officer took, but really you want to be able to do that in a defensive gun in 2.5 seconds or so, tops, because you got to get back in the fight. Thankfully, he finally figures it out through the stress and all that stuff, gets the gun back in the fight, and now he's going to go back up to this other guy who has gone from the passenger seat to the driver's seat and start taking shots at him again with the poor grip. I'm just not sure how this officer, did those grips, but whatever. But all these shots he took, I think he takes 13 at this car. He doesn't hit anything. He doesn't hit the guy, and marksmanship is key. The last shot that you do hear actually comes from a Remington 870 shotgun that another officer had brought out, gone around the other side of his car, and that one shot from the shotgun actually, was able to hit the guy who was now in the driver's seat of the car. Thankfully, I think another great thing this officer did is, again, staying present, being absolutely committed to the fight. He saw where the other guy went and was able to kind of track him and therefore let the other officers pin him. So this officer definitely got an A+ for attitude. He stayed in the fight. He wasn't willing to give up. He did everything that he needed to do. Thankfully, he had some backup. I think that, for execution, boy, we definitely need to think about, grip and shooting stance and those kinds of things. We need to think about the fundamentals here that seem to be lacking. But thankfully, this officer didn't hurt anybody else. No one was harmed. And he ended up being instrumental in ending the threat. So kudos to him for that.